Most people walk past a bottle of laundry detergent without giving it a second thought. But what if I told you that behind one of the most ordinary products in America is a business that can generate millions of dollars in annual revenue? The real question is not whether people need detergent. The real question is whether building a factory to produce it is actually a smart investment. Today, we're looking at the business of Michael Anderson, the owner of a detergent manufacturing operation that supplies cleaning products to retailers, distributors, and private label brands across the country. From the outside, it looks like a straightforward manufacturing business. Raw materials come in, finished products go out, and customers keep buying because laundry is one of those things people never stop doing. But when you look closer, the numbers tell a much more interesting story. This factory moves thousands of gallons of product every week, serves multiple customer segments, and operates in a market worth billions of dollars annually. Yet despite the size of the opportunity, very few investors ever seriously consider entering this industry. That's because detergent manufacturing sits in a unique category. It's not a trendy tech startup. It's not a flashy consumer app. And it probably won't make headlines on financial news channels. What it does offer is something many investors value even more: recurring demand. Every apartment building, hotel, laundromat, healthcare facility, and household creates ongoing demand for cleaning products. But recurring demand alone doesn't guarantee a good investment. Building a factory requires significant capital, specialized equipment, inventory, compliance requirements, and a reliable customer base. So before you even think about investing $1 into a laundry detergent factory, there's one thing you need to know. How much money does a business like this actually make, and more importantly, how much of that money ends up in the owner's pocket? To understand whether this business makes sense financially, we have to start with the numbers. Michael's factory generates approximately $18 million in annual revenue. That sounds impressive, but revenue alone does not tell us much. What matters is what remains after paying for raw materials, labor, packaging, transportation, utilities, maintenance, insurance, and every other expense required to keep production running. In a typical year, the factory operates at roughly 70% of its total production capacity. That level allows the business to maintain healthy margins while still leaving room for future growth. On average, the facility produces several million gallons of liquid detergent annually across multiple product categories, including household laundry detergent, commercial cleaning solutions, and private label products manufactured for other brands. Gross margins vary depending on the customer type. Private label contracts often generate lower margins but provide larger and more predictable order volumes. Branded products typically offer stronger margins but require greater investment in marketing and distribution. When everything is combined, the business maintains a gross margin of roughly 35%. After accounting for operating expenses, net profit margins generally fall between 12 and 15%. In practical terms, that means a year with $18 million in revenue can produce more than $2 million in net profit. Those numbers immediately grab attention because they suggest a business with meaningful cash generation. But they also reveal something important. This is not a business where massive profits appear overnight. The factory did not reach these levels during its first year. It required equipment purchases, customer acquisition, process improvements, supplier relationships, and years of operational discipline. The surprising part is that Michael did not build his success by selling directly to millions of consumers. A significant portion of revenue comes from supplying other companies that place their own labels on products manufactured inside this facility. In other words, many bottles on store shelves may have different brand names, but they can originate from the same production line. That creates a fascinating advantage. Instead of betting everything on one consumer brand, the factory earns revenue from multiple channels at the same time. And once you understand how that system works, you begin to see why some manufacturers quietly generate far more profit than the brands consumers recognize every day. Walking through Michael's facility makes one thing immediately clear. This is not a simple mixing operation happening in the back of a warehouse. The entire business is built around efficiency, consistency, and scale. Every gallon that leaves the factory follows a process designed to reduce waste, maintain product quality, and maximize output. The journey begins with raw materials arriving in bulk shipments. Surfactants, fragrances, preservatives, colorants, and specialty additives are stored in dedicated tanks and containers before entering production. Once an order is scheduled, computerized systems calculate precise formulations based on the product being manufactured. Some customers require premium household detergents. Others need commercial-grade products designed for hotels, laundromats, healthcare facilities, or industrial cleaning companies. Large stainless steel mixing vessels serve as the heart of the operation. Ingredients are blended according to exact specifications, creating consistent batches regardless of volume. A customer ordering 10,000 bottles expects the same quality as a customer ordering 100,000, and that consistency is one of the biggest reasons manufacturers survive in this industry. After mixing is complete, the product moves through filtration and quality control procedures before reaching automated filling lines. This is where production speed becomes critical. Bottles move continuously through conveyors while machines handle filling, capping, labeling, coating, and packaging. A process that would take dozens of workers manually can now be completed by a relatively small team overseeing automated equipment. Michael estimates that a fully optimized production line can process thousands of units per hour depending on bottle size and packaging requirements. That level of efficiency dramatically changes the economics of the business. The more volume moving through the system, the lower the production cost per unit. This creates a powerful advantage for manufacturers that secure large contracts. What looks like a few cents saved on each bottle can translate into hundreds of thousands of dollars annually when production volumes reach millions of units. Yet the most surprising part of the factory is not the machinery. It is the flexibility. On Monday, the facility may produce detergent for a regional retailer. On Tuesday, it may switch to manufacturing products for an e-commerce brand. By Wednesday, the same equipment could be producing industrial cleaning solutions for commercial clients. That ability to serve multiple markets from one facility creates opportunities that many investors never see. And once you understand who is actually buying these products and why they continue placing orders year after year, the business starts to look very different from the simple consumer product most people imagine. The reason this industry continues attracting serious operators comes down to one simple fact. Demand is remarkably stable. During economic booms, people buy detergent. During recessions, people still buy detergent. Consumers may switch brands, retailers may adjust pricing strategies, and manufacturers may compete aggressively, but the underlying need rarely disappears. That stability creates a foundation that many businesses never achieve. Michael learned this early as he expanded his customer base. Instead of relying on a single type of buyer, he focused on multiple markets simultaneously. Retailers needed private label products to compete with national brands. E-commerce companies wanted custom formulations and packaging. Commercial customers required large volume cleaning solutions. Hotels, laundromats, apartment complexes, and healthcare facilities all consumed significant quantities of detergent every year. Each customer category behaved differently, but together they created a diversified revenue stream that reduced dependence on any one segment. This diversification became especially important when market conditions changed. If consumer spending slowed in one area, commercial demand often remained steady. If one customer reduced orders, another customer might increase purchases. That flexibility helped stabilize cash flow and allowed the factory to operate more consistently throughout the year. Another factor driving demand is the growth of private label products. Over the last decade, many retailers discovered that selling their own branded cleaning products could generate higher margins than simply stocking national brands. The challenge was that most retailers did not own manufacturing facilities. They needed experienced producers capable of delivering reliable quality at scale. That is where factories like Michael's found opportunity. Instead of spending millions of dollars building consumer awareness, the facility could focus on manufacturing while clients handled distribution and marketing. In many cases, customers cared less about the name on the bottle and more about performance, pricing, and availability. This trend created a steady flow of contract manufacturing opportunities. Yet perhaps the most overlooked advantage is repeat purchasing behavior. Unlike products that consumers buy once every few years, detergent is consumed continuously. Bottles empty. Inventories need replenishment. Commercial accounts reorder regularly. Retail shelves must stay stocked. Every shipment delivered today often creates another order weeks or months later. That recurring demand is one reason investors become interested in manufacturing businesses like this. But recurring demand alone does not guarantee success. The next question is far more important. If someone wanted to build a facility capable of competing at this level today, how much money would they actually need to get started, and where would most of that capital disappear before the first bottle was ever sold? This is the point where many people become interested in the business and then immediately realize how expensive manufacturing can be. Michael estimates that building a facility capable of serving regional and national customers requires far more than simply renting a warehouse and buying a few mixing tanks. The largest expense is usually the facility itself. Depending on location, size, utility requirements, and local regulations, acquiring or developing an appropriate industrial property can cost anywhere from several $100,000 to several $1 million. Then comes production equipment. Large stainless steel mixing systems, storage tanks, automated filling lines, labeling machines, packaging equipment, conveyors, quality control systems, and material handling equipment quickly add up. A modern production line designed for efficiency can easily require investments measured in the millions. But equipment is only the beginning. Before production starts, raw material inventory must be purchased. Manufacturers often need significant working capital because suppliers expect payment long before finished products are sold and collected from customers. Fragrances, surfactants, bottles, caps, labels, cartons, and other packaging materials can tie up hundreds of thousands of dollars in inventory. Then there are certifications, compliance requirements, insurance policies, laboratory testing, software systems, employee training, and utility infrastructure. Many new operators underestimate these costs because they focus entirely on machinery while overlooking everything required to support the operation. Michael explains that one of the biggest mistakes investors make is assuming production automatically creates profit. In reality, the facility must generate enough volume to absorb fixed costs. A production line running at 20% capacity often struggles financially. The same line running at 70 or 80% capacity can become highly profitable. That difference is why customer acquisition matters just as much as manufacturing capability. For a facility similar to Michael's operation, total startup costs could realistically range from $3 million to $10 million depending on scale, location, and production goals. Those numbers immediately eliminate many potential investors. Yet they also create a barrier that limits competition. Not everyone can enter the industry, and that exclusivity has value. The challenge is that spending millions to build a factory is one thing. Creating a business capable of producing attractive returns on that investment is something entirely different. And when Michael analyzes where the strongest profits actually come from, the answer is not always where most people expect. The interesting thing about this business is that the biggest profits are not always generated by the products consumers recognize on store shelves. Michael discovered that the real economics often favor manufacturers that focus on serving multiple revenue channels rather than betting everything on a single brand. At first glance, selling a private label detergent to a retailer may seem less attractive because the margins are lower than selling a product under your own brand name. But lower margins do not always mean lower profits. Large retailers place bigger orders, create predictable demand, and allow production lines to operate more efficiently. When machines run consistently, labor becomes more productive, equipment utilization improves, and fixed costs are spread across a larger volume of output. That efficiency can significantly improve overall profitability. On the other hand, branded products often deliver stronger margins per unit. If Michael manufactures a bottle that costs $2.50 to produce and sells it wholesale for $4, the margin may look attractive. But building brand awareness requires marketing, sales teams, distribution relationships, and ongoing promotional expenses. Those costs can quickly reduce the advantage of higher pricing. This is why many manufacturers choose a hybrid model. Michael's operation generates revenue from private label contracts, contract manufacturing agreements, commercial cleaning products, and a smaller portfolio of proprietary brands. Each channel serves a different purpose. Some maximize volume. Others maximize margin. Together they create a more balanced business. Another major source of profitability comes from customer retention. Once a retailer, distributor, or commercial account approves a formulation and integrates it into their supply chain, switching suppliers can be expensive and disruptive. That creates a degree of stability that many businesses never achieve. Customers often continue ordering month after month. And year after year as long as product quality, pricing, and service remain competitive. Michael estimates that some long-term contracts generate millions of dollars in lifetime revenue. This is where the economics become particularly compelling. The first order may barely cover acquisition costs, but recurring orders can generate profit for years. In many ways, the factory is not simply selling detergent. It is building long-term relationships that keep production lines moving and cash flowing. Yet despite these advantages, there are still risks capable of reducing margins, disrupting operations, and turning a profitable facility into a struggling one if management is not prepared. One of the reasons manufacturing businesses appear attractive from the outside is that investors often focus on revenue and ignore risk. Michael learned that protecting profit can be just as important as generating it. The first major challenge is raw material pricing. Key ingredients used in detergent production are tied to global supply chains, transportation costs, energy prices, and commodity markets. A sudden increase in input costs can compress margins quickly, especially when customer contracts lock pricing for extended periods. If costs rise faster than selling prices, profitability can shrink even while revenue remains strong. Another challenge is customer concentration. A large contract may seem like a huge win, but if too much revenue depends on a small number of customers, the business becomes vulnerable. Losing a major account can create excess production capacity overnight. Michael deliberately diversified his customer base to reduce this risk, ensuring that no single customer could significantly impact the factory's long-term stability. Labor is another factor that investors often underestimate. Modern equipment improves efficiency, but skilled employees remain essential for quality control, maintenance, logistics, compliance, production planning, and customer service. Recruiting and retaining capable people becomes increasingly important as operations grow. Equipment downtime presents another hidden risk. A production line generating thousands of units per hour creates tremendous value when operating smoothly. However, unexpected maintenance issues can interrupt production schedules, delay customer orders, and increase operating costs. This is why preventative maintenance and operational discipline play such a critical role in manufacturing success. Competition also remains a constant pressure. Large multinational companies possess enormous resources, established distribution networks, and significant purchasing power. Smaller manufacturers must compete through flexibility, service, speed, customization, and relationship building rather than attempting to win purely on scale. Perhaps the most important risk is cash flow management. Even profitable businesses can experience financial pressure if inventory grows too quickly, customers pay slowly, or expansion moves faster than available capital. Michael believes cash flow is one of the most important metrics in the entire operation because growth itself can create strain if not managed carefully. These risks are real, but they are also manageable when leadership understands the business and builds systems to address them. The interesting part is that despite all these challenges, Michael still sees significant opportunities ahead, especially because the factory has not yet reached its full production potential. Despite the challenges, Michael believes the next stage of growth could be even more valuable than the journey that brought the factory to its current size. The reason is simple. Much of the infrastructure is already in place. The building exists. The production lines are operational. The supplier relationships have been established. The quality systems have been refined. That means future growth does not necessarily require the same level of investment that was needed during the early years. One of the biggest opportunities comes from increasing production utilization. The factory currently operates below its maximum capacity, which means additional orders can often be absorbed without major facility expansion. Every new contract helps spread fixed costs across more units, improving overall efficiency and strengthening profitability. Michael sees private label manufacturing as a particularly attractive growth channel. More retailers are launching store brands, more online businesses are creating proprietary product lines, and more entrepreneurs are entering the cleaning products market without building factories of their own. All of those businesses need manufacturing partners capable of delivering consistent quality at scale. Another opportunity involves product diversification. Once a facility can successfully manufacture laundry detergent, many of the same systems can support related cleaning products. Fabric softeners, stain removers, commercial cleaning concentrates, and specialty formulations can often be added using existing production capabilities. This allows the business to expand revenue streams while leveraging infrastructure that has already been paid for. Geographic expansion also remains a possibility. Michael has explored opportunities to serve additional regions where shipping costs currently limit competitiveness. Establishing strategic distribution partnerships could allow the company to reach new customers without constructing entirely new facilities. Technology continues to play an important role as well. Improved automation, production monitoring systems, inventory management tools, and forecasting software help increase efficiency while reducing operational complexity. Small improvements repeated across millions of units can create substantial financial impact over time. Yet Michael believes the most important growth driver is reputation. In manufacturing, trust compounds. Every successful shipment increases credibility. Every satisfied customer creates referrals. Every long-term relationship makes future sales easier. Over time, that reputation becomes one of the company's most valuable assets. And when Michael looks at the factory today, he does not simply see a production facility. He sees a platform that can continue generating growth for years, provided the business stays disciplined, focused, and committed to delivering value to customers. After examining the numbers, the operations, the risks, and the growth potential, Michael has reached a conclusion that may surprise some investors. This business is neither a guaranteed goldmine nor an industry to avoid. It is a business that rewards discipline. The biggest lesson from his journey is that manufacturing success is rarely driven by a single breakthrough. It comes from thousands of small decisions made consistently over time. The quality of the product, the reliability of delivery, the efficiency of operations, the strength of customer relationships, and the ability to manage costs all matter. Ignore any one of them for too long and profitability begins to suffer. Looking back, Michael says one thing he would do differently is focus even earlier on securing long-term customer contracts. Stable demand creates predictability, and predictability allows better planning, better hiring decisions, and more confident investment in growth. He also believes many new operators spend too much time thinking about equipment and not enough time thinking about sales. A factory without customers is simply an expensive building filled with machinery. For anyone considering entering this industry, his advice is straightforward. Do not fall in love with the product. Fall in love with the economics. Understand where demand comes from. Understand who the customers are. Understand how cash flows through the business. Most importantly, understand how long it may take before the investment begins generating meaningful returns. This industry can produce impressive revenue and strong profits, but it also requires patience, capital, and operational expertise. The core principle behind everything Michael has built is surprisingly simple. Ordinary products can create extraordinary businesses when supported by the right systems. Consumers may never think twice about the detergent they use every week, but behind that simple purchase is an entire manufacturing operation built on efficiency, consistency, and recurring demand. For the right investor, that combination can create a powerful long-term opportunity. For the wrong investor, it can become an expensive lesson. The difference is not the factory itself. The difference is whether the person behind the investment truly understands the system that makes the factory work.